Hi everyone, this is Dango. In this video, we are going to talk about how to use and how to build Himiko in Langrisser Mobile. So Himiko is really a strong and annoying character, and she is strong and annoying because of a few different parts. She got a very strong talent, she got a very strong skill set, even a 1C skill is super strong and annoying, and then she got a very annoying troop. So in this case, we are just going to start with the talent a little bit because the talent is a little bit confusing indeed. So the talent, the first part is your just increase crit damage. The second part, at 5-star, you get 80% chance to apply a Ninjutsu debuff to your opponent. At 6-star, you're going to have 100% chance to apply this Ninjutsu debuff, and this one will get through the immunity, and this one cannot get dispelled. So what Ninjutsu debuff is? Ninjutsu debuff is like a debuff that will explode at the end of opponent's turn. So for example, if you deal a single target damage to one opponent and applied this Ninjutsu debuff to your opponent, and then at the end of their turn, this Ninjutsu debuff is gonna explode, and there will be a potential of 4 different debuffs. So that these 4 different debuffs are like break, so mobility down and cannot guard, and then all the stats decrease by 10%. This is considered as 4 debuff. So if this guy has this immunity shield provided by this resonance cell, then these 4 different debuff is going to consume 4 layer of this immunity. So this is why Himiko sometimes can remove all the resonance cell shield, the immunity shield within one round. This is because this all stats down was triggered. So all stats down 10% was considered 4 different debuffs. This is why sometimes you see Himiko apply this Ninjutsu skill, and the next turn the opponent immunity gets completely ripped off. This is 25% to trigger, and then the other type of debuff is fixed damage 20%. The other type of debuff is silence. So those are really decent debuff sets. There's no heal block, there's no heal reverse, so the debuff set was not great as Rain or even Bozo. But at least, I think, yeah, Bozo probably has still a little bit better debuff sets. But this is still pretty strong and annoying, sometimes very effective against Result Cell. But this is kind of random, so all the debuff has 25% chance to trigger. It is still pretty easy to apply this Ninjutsu effect to your opponent. So this is why this talent part is actually pretty annoying. The thing is, at 3-star, this is only 50% chance. At 5-star, it improved to 80% chance. So it is better that if your Himiko will be 5-star or higher, so that you can apply this debuff in a more consistent manner. And the other part of Himiko is, of course, after your Himiko jumps in and apply AOE, she can apply a debuff, or not a debuff, she can apply an effect that cancels your opponent's single target attack, and then teleport back to the closest friendly unit, the spot that is closest to the closest friendly unit. This is a very strong skill, basically just save Himiko after Himiko jumps in. So one of the problem for lots of the AoE unit or like debuff unit is that there is a lack of there's a lack of a method for you to teleport back to the safe after you jump in. For example, usually after Iris jump in, he's pretty much done. Like an experienced player will have methods to deal with your Iris after he jumps in. An experienced player probably will not have that many effective methods against Himiko after she jumps in, because she just teleport back to the closest friendly unit, and the spot difference can be huge. I can jump in to your back and then teleport to my back, so I can teleport like 10 or 11 spots, and this is why Himiko is very annoying, and she's very strong. And of course, if you try to snipe Himiko with assassins like with Alastral or with like even SP Sigma, she can cancel out your attack, and then within like within like 3 turns she can be attacked, but after 3 turns she can has the talent part back up again, and then just get again get this ability to just make your single target not effective against her. This is very a strong skill, because usually we worry about the survivability of like debuffers or like AoE unit, and for Himiko you don't have to really consider about this being squashy. So this is why from the talent Himiko is really strong and annoying. And then let's go to the skill. So Himiko's skill is very strong, from the 1C skill to the 3C skill to the 2C skill, very strong. So the 1C skill basically is a self buff skill. So it will allow herself to receive a 0.1 AoE damage, and then she will gain mobility +2. So her original mobility was 4, so with that skill you can get Himiko to mobility 6, which is a decent mobility, consider like Himiko is an AoE unit, so you can just spam AoE. You can jump in like 3 spots and spam AoE, very strong and annoying. And of course, this 1C skill not only providing you the AoE effect, but also provide you the ability to bypass your opponents, which is very close to what Ares can do. If you have opponent try to summon Sky Ultra to block you, that is not going to be the case. Sky Ultra cannot block you, tanks are not going to block you, just because Himiko, she can teleport back after a single target, after receiving a single target attack. You can just use Himiko to really jump into the back of your opponent and then spam AoE, and then get safe and teleport back. Really strong combination with the talent and the 1C skill here. And of course, when Himiko is moving, she also generates a fair spot, and if your opponent end their turn there, they will receive 15% of their highest health point fixed damage, which is pretty annoying as well. So this is really strong 1C skill. It has a lot of parts, and it has a lot of effect. Not only self-buff Himiko, but also generate this fair tail, which is very annoying. So, and not to mention the other skills are just making Himiko more annoying. So the 2C skill includes one of the silence skill. So this is not like a 50% chance silence. This is 100% chance silence. It's like 0.3 AoE damage, and then it will dispel 3 buff from the opponent, and then this is a strong silence. They cannot do normal attack, and they can also not use any skill. And the more crazy thing is that it cannot get dispelled. So yeah, just a very annoying silence skill. This is why it costs like 2 skill points. It's a 0.3 damage, and then it dispels 3 buff. It allows you. It's like not allowing to use any skill, but also it breaks you from even doing the normal attack. So basically, after I use that skill on your character just cannot do anything next turn. So this is why the silence skill is very annoying. And of course, we have one of the other ninjutsu skill, which is a push ninjutsu skill. So this is a 0.3 AoE damage, land skill, 5 spots, and then everyone will be pushed off by 3 spots. So this is kind of close to the other push skill like old land use the push skill. So this is very close to that. This is 1 land, and everyone will be pushed back for like 3 turns. Very strong in the later games, in the end game. So okay, those are the 2C skills for Himiko. So depends on what you are fighting against, depending on what you are trying to do here. You can choose to use the 7 skill or the push skill, or you can use one of these guard ignore skill as well. Just remember, Himiko isn't that strong in sniping, because usually the troop you are going to use with Himiko is the AoE troop. So the AoE troop here, which is the Goblin Rider, right? So you can steal one of the buff from the opponent after a crit attack. So for Himiko, your crit chance is pretty high. The 3C skill increase crit chance by 20%, I think, when you are using that skill. So you don't really have trouble to crit. And of course, she's assassin class, so her skill is S level. And sometimes, we will talk about gear later, but she has no problem to crit, so this is why you use Goblin Rider. You can steal the buff from the opponent from the using the AoE skill. But when you are using Goblin Rider, your ability to snipe is not as great. But sometimes if your opponent really have squashy unit, they have no bracer, I mean, you can still try to kill, I guess. It's just that's usually not the more common way of using Himiko. I do see people in the Chinese server use this skill, use low skill, especially the Shadow Ride, which is 1.3 damage, which is a decent amount of damage. I do see people use that. It's more of trying to snipe after other characters use AoE. For example, like Bornhard use sword dance first, and then he'll block, and then Himiko jumps in and snap. This is usually how Himiko snap. The more common skill is definitely the 7 skill and the AoE skill for 2C skill. And of course, after you get Himiko, you are going to learn the 3C skill, which is a 5 range, 3 land skill, just a huge range of AoE. And then this is a 0.38 damage. The damage is pretty good. It decreases the mobility from like 1 to 3. This is a random decrease in mobility. You can decrease 1 or 2 or 3. It's all random. And if you hit 3 more units with that AoE, which is not that hard, then you get the skill cooldown reduced by 3 turns. So this skill has a 6 turn cooldown. So even if you trigger that skill cooldown minus 3, this is still going to be a 3 turn cooldown skill. But which is alright. You can accept a skill that has 3 turn cooldown. You can use it again after 3 turns, which is not terrible. So yeah, this is just the 3C skill for Himiko. Very strong, very high area, AoE skill, and also can reduce mobility. And of course, with Himiko, you always get chance to apply the Ninjutsu skill. You always can steal the buff with Goblin Rider. This is just why Himiko is so annoying. And with that, we know the talent and the skill of Himiko and what kind of skill you want to run with her. Of course, after 3C skill, you will use one of these 2C skill, either sniping or pushing them back, or use silence and then you use the 3C skill. You always need the 1C skill to buff Himiko up, so she can have very high mobility and she can bypass opponent's units. This is very good combo with her talent. So after figuring out what her talent is and what skill you need to run, and of course what troops you usually run with Himiko, we can then go to what gear you are going to use. So the site for Himiko is definitely going to be a clock site. She just has too many strong skills. Those skills has a decent turn of cooldown. Like 2 turn or 3 turn cooldown. So and of course 3C skill has a 6 turn cooldown or a 3 turn cooldown if you can hit 3 more. So in this case, the best enchant for Himiko is going to be Clock. I don't recommend any other options here, because you can self-buff mobility, so Breezy is not really needed. It's pretty safe to jump in. Himiko get a decent survivability because of the, you can just like when they are attacking your Himiko with single target skill, you can just cancel that attack. So Full Moon set is not really needed. She has a very good crit chance to begin with. Don't really need a yellow enchant to make her skill very high, so she can get enough crit chance fairly easily. So the only choice is probably going to be the clock sight. If you already have a clock sight for Joshua, you can directly transfer the gear from Joshua to Himiko. So the EMB is the standard gear for Himiko. So of course you go with the clock sight, and the armor, the best is Lacerite. If you don't have Lacerite, you can also use this fake Lacerite as well, or you can go with Laser Skin. Doesn't really matter, because when you are attacking, you can cancel their single target attack. Lacerite, the reason for Lacerite is to make you strong against AoE, so your Himiko will not get murdered from the random AoE spammed from your opponent. Especially that gives Himiko ability to tank Ares. Yes, you can make Himiko available to survive the AoE from Ares. Her health point isn't that low. And also, just one thing, after you use the 1C skill, you do receive 0.1 AoE damage. Make sure you use the skill when you are not in Ares range, because after you use that skill, she is not in full health point. That is the turn that Ares can jump in and kill her. So this is something to note. You have to heal her immediately, so she has the full health point, and she can take advantage of Lacerite. This is very critical. And the headgear, now we have a couple of choice. So you can use King's Crown. If you have King's Crown, very good enchant, you can still use that. But the other thing, you can use the new headgear that we can get 50% at maximum level of like two opponents within 2 spots. I think it's 2 opponents at maximum level. Oh no, 1 opponent. Okay, yeah. So you can get 1 heal block debuff to 1 opponent. So Himiko's debuff side from Ninjutsu doesn't have heal block. So if you can trigger heal block from the headgear, that is pretty annoying, right? For AoE, heal block is one of your objective always. So this is why this headgear is pretty good for her. And usually Himiko jumps into your opponent because she can teleport back later on. So it's not bad to jump in. You can usually jump in pretty safely. This is why this headgear is pretty good. And then for the accessory, usually you can have a few options. So you can, the most common selection for Himiko is actually this Overlord badge, and this is mostly to prevent mobility down on your own Himiko because you want to jump in, and it provides some skill because it's all stats plus 1%, 5% at maximum level. So this is why Overlord badge is the most common selection for the PvP players in the Chinese server. But if you don't use Overlord badge, you can also try to use the other normal accessories for assassins, like the Judgment Talisman, or you can use the Slayer emblem. So those kind of things you can use on Himiko as well. But usually, just because Himiko really needs to jump in, so the immunity to break leg is very good for Himiko. This is the most popular choice. But of course, if you have a broken enchant on like Slayer emblem or like the Judgment Talisman, then you can still use those as well. Just don't expect Himiko to kill that much with her AoE. Usually your objective is still to debuff to steal the buff and to push opponent back, and of course do the leg break. Usually is very critical for battle. So this is about how to use and how to build Himiko. Sorry, the video is a little bit long because some part of the talent, for example, what kind of debuff your ninjutsu skill can bring, was not explicitly said in the talent. So I wanted to make this very clear. Okay, so this is about how to use and how to build Himiko. We will see if we have a lot of Himiko play in the round of 64 in a global server. So see you guys later. Peace.